we are going to play a game together. If you are not afraid, then please play with me. It can be played in any room, even the one you are in right now. So, follow along. This game will work every time if played correctly. This game is called the mirror game. I want you to approach the tallest mirror you own. Go ahead. I'll wait. Feel free to come back to this guide as you prepare to follow my instructions. A hung body-sized mirror is preferred. You know, full length. But truly, any will do. You'll need a single candle, the smaller the better, like a tea light. Sit about 3 feet away with your legs crossed and a lit candle in front of you. The room should be black, and by the way, the bigger the room, the better. We will need to make room for something else. Make sure the only light is that of your candle. Now, bow your head and close your eyes. Take 3 deep, long breaths. And without lifting your gaze, look into the mirror. Hold your gaze. Do not let go. Feel the empty space behind you. Feel the empty space behind you. Feel the cold on your back. Listen to the candle. Listen as if you were trying to hear the wax melt away. Watch yourself melt away. You may look behind you now, into the towering mirror and its black void that lies behind you. Allow the darkness to fill you. Allow it to consume you. Now, once more, look into your eyes, but do not look behind you again. I repeat, do not look behind you again. All we did was welcome it. Hold this gaze and repeat. I've looked into the void, and now the void look into me. Take a deep breath and repeat the chant. I've looked into the void, and now the void look into me. You will do this until you feel the space behind you closing in. If you feel this, or if the face in the mirror is no longer your own, yell out, "No more," and turn on the lights. But do not blow out the candle until the lights are back on. If you feel the empty space behind you begin to fill, then you've played correctly, and you've summoned something more real than the devil itself. Before I reveal the truth and the dark energy that you've summoned, I'd like to discuss the history of the mirror and the stories made to frighten you with one in place. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody... I won't do that to you. It's common knowledge that the ritual of Bloody Mary was inspired by the first Queen of England, Mary Tudor, Queen of Scots, a Catholic monarch who persecuted Protestants for their heresy. It was believed that a full cleansing of the body needed to be done to rid the soul of their sinful past. This was accomplished by burning the condemned at the stake in the hundreds. It is said that the queen had also suffered from many miscarriages, so after her death, the bloodthirsty queen's grief would remain attached to her plane, residing in the mirrors. It is believed that shortly after her death, the game began. Young women would ascend a staircase backwards, and in the darkness with a mirror awaiting them at the peak. Once the young woman had made her ascent, she was to look into the mirror and call out for Bloody Mary. If done correctly, the face of her future husband would appear, but it was a chance. Bloody Mary was not always favorable, for if the young woman had seen a skull instead of Prince Charming, it would mean certain death for those seeking love. Tricky it must be, climbing stairs in the dark, with your back facing the top. One can imagine the rumors that would circulate after finding a young lady dead at the bottom. Other variations of the ritual can be found, with many tying in the history of Queen Mary's fertility to the legend. Though she did have a child, many have helped the lore evolve with the misnomer Mary of Wales. This eventually leading some to refer to her as the Wailing Woman. This apparition takes many forms around different cultures. In Spanish lore, the Weeping Woman, or La Llorona, is the spirit who can be heard wailing for the loss of her murdered children. Something that the Weeping Woman and Bloody Mary have in common, as it is believed not all of Queen Mary's miscarriages were unadulterated. Another more pop cultural rendition of the mirror game is one popularized by cinema. Candyman was obviously inspired by Bloody Mary, but there's another, perhaps, that inspired the ritual of repeating a name in a mirror in the dark. If you grew up in Maryland, like myself, perhaps you heard of Black Aggie. Now, growing up, I was told the same thing. Enter a room with a mirror, turn off the lights, and repeat her name 3 times in the mirror. A rotten corpse of a woman would appear, along with scratches on your body, or worse. Much like Bloody Mary, this truth-based legend has been skewed to focus around a mirror. But the true history of Black Aggie is that of a name given to a statue placed on a grave in Druid Ridge Cemetery in Pikesville, Maryland. The statue is of a woman seated in a shroud above a grave. It is rumored that if you spend the night in its lap, you will be haunted by the dead. So, what correlation is there between Black Aggie and Bloody Mary? Well, the statue we call Black Aggie is actually titled Grief, something that many believe rules Bloody Mary in the afterlife. But why were all of these urban legends tied to the mirror? What does the mirror truly reveal? A more psychological explanation is a phenomenon known as pareidolia. See, when your brain is not given enough information, images can be pieced together to reveal something that may not exist. It is the tendency to misidentify an object or sound. Imagine your mind putting together a puzzle with missing pieces. It can never be whole, so the void is filled. Other examples of this would be seeing the face in inanimate objects like smoke or fire. Those who have studied the practice of staring into a mirror with limited light have claimed your brain's facial recognition misfires, causing us to see someone or something reflection, and we fear what we do not understand. So, if in the light the mirror shows us what we are, then in the dark it must show us what we fear. And that is what you are awarded in the mirror game. Because fear is something more real than the devil itself. We give life to fear by our own misguided perception, and that makes it exist. So, who knows what our own fear could create in the shadows? After all, I think, therefore I am.